Welcome back to Equine Helper. Today, what I wanted to do is I wanted to get back on Ruach. So for those of you who have been watching, you know that I started Ruach while we were in Oregon and we just went on some trail rides and everything. Unfortunately, just with moving to Idaho and the life changes, I haven't been too consistent with riding him. So it's been probably about a month and a half since the last time he was ridden. So I want to get on him again. I'm kind of having to restart, I guess, in a way. The thing about Ruach is he's very, very smart, so it's really easy for him to get bored, and that's what I have to figure out what to do with him, because if he starts getting bored, he starts acting out a little bit. And so my goal for today is just to get on him, see how he does, and maybe come up with a few games we can play with him, and we'll go from there. Ruach has been on a diet because, well, when I went home to get all of our stuff for a week and a half, Colin overfed the horses. And I came back and they were obese. So we have put them on a diet. Oh, they're so dusty. And he's looking a lot better. He had like fat pockets all over him, but now he's just a little pudgy. I know, you're like, why are you pulling me away from my breakfast, woman? Come on, I know you just want to eat. You'll get to eat. So on the ground, Ruach is incredibly pushy, and I haven't quite figured out how to correct that with him, because a lot of times with pushy horses, you can ask him to back up 1,000 times, but they just don't get it. And you can see, you know, when I get after him to back up, he's like, meh, okay. So what I actually started doing, I watched a Warwick Schiller video and it gave me an idea, is I've been using movement instead of backing up. So if he starts to get in my space, I just send him out around me instead. And it has actually helped a lot. Like even just leading him now, you know, he's more relaxed next to me. He's not trying to push and get in front. So you always gotta trust Warwick Schiller. He's like my top horse trainer that I watch and trust. I love his methods. I like that he mixes kind of positive reinforcement and negative reinforcement, because I think that's an important thing. Good boy. Good. Good. And how I would describe my training method with Ruach in particular is I've tried incorporating positive reinforcement a lot more. You see this? Just to see, kind of just to experiment. Get your head over there. All right, awkward, heavy. Here's your saddle pad. You remember this? You remember this? Yeah? He's always been pretty good with getting tacked up. Haven't you? Yes, but you do have to see what Mom's doing. That's your big thing. You like to see what I'm doing. Did y'all just see that girth catch? That was impressive. You gotta turn your head if you want the treat. Good. That's a little something I've been doing with him. Nope. Do y'all see Tucker? If this was reversed and this was Tucker, Ruach would be over here getting in his way. But Tucker's just over there like, okay. Let's get a trot. Trot, trot, trot. Good boy. He seems pretty comfortable. Tucker's just like an old man. Going about his business. Good boy. So I'm actually going to voice over our ride because a lot happened in the ride that I didn't really talk through as it was happening. And so I thought so that people can actually learn from this experience and maybe from my mistakes a little bit. You know, I would do a voiceover. So I just start by getting on Ruach a few times just because he hasn't been ridden in a little bit, so I want to make sure he's going to be okay. And I do use treats with him just to let him know he's doing well. But the biggest thing with Ruach, the biggest struggle I have with him, is if he is in an enclosed area like this paddock, even though it's a big paddock, he does not want to move out. He does not want to move forward. If he is out on the trail or in the woods and there's a trail before him, he moves out great. It's like he has been ridden 1,000 times. He's an old pro. And I really think this stems from boredom for him. Like when he is in these smaller paddocks, he can see everything that's happening. Nothing is new. I feel like when he goes out on the trail, he is excited because he's experiencing new things. So he does tend to act out just a little bit. Like he will throw his head and act like he wants to buck. And then once I correct him, he's usually pretty good. But I still don't like that he does that. So right now I'm just trying to let him move a little bit. Because, like I said, he hasn't been ridden a whole lot, so I just want him to move around, feel the weight on him. He does good with people, like, sitting on him, but it's just when you want him to move forward in these small spaces, he does not want to do it. And so what I always do to get him kind of going in the right direction is I use my steering. So I'll steer left, steer right, whatever I can do to get those forward steps. And this is going to escalate, so I'll talk about that when it happens. But right now I'm just trying to make sure he's comfortable. Because, you know, when a horse is sticky, especially when they haven't been ridden a whole lot, you want to be careful with that because they could be trying to tell you something. Like he could be trying to tell me he just doesn't feel comfortable with me on his back, you know. And so I want to respect that. But at the same time, I know that this is kind of a little habit he has where he just does not want to move forward in a small space. So I'm just going to work him left and right until I can get a forward motion from him. And this first time, like, once I think he got over the mental hurdle, he was like, okay, I'll move forward. So, and I'm watching his expression. Like, his expression here, he looks kind of annoyed, to be honest. So those are just important things to watch. I think he genuinely is annoyed, but he finally gives up and just moves forward. So the game I have set up is I've put some brushes on a post here, and I want us to ride and get a brush and then ride back and circle around something out in the field and then come back and throw it in the tire right there behind us. So it's just a little game for him so that his mind can be thinking towards something else rather than thinking about, let me plant my feet and just not move forward. And I was hoping that it would have that effect, but it didn't really. So what you're going to see here is he's still just a little stuck. And here I had to make a judgment call. I mean, here he is licking and chewing, which is good. But then he plants his feet here. So I do end up stopping and just sitting here for a minute because I'm like, I don't want to fight about this. And it felt like it was going to turn into a fight. So I just had to sit a moment. But you'll see, like, he's throwing his head and doing these things. He's backing up when I ask him to move forward. So for me personally, my thing is nip bad habits in the butt before they come bad habits. And this is what I saw this becoming. So even though this kind of happened off camera here, once he did it enough, I finally got off and just worked him in a circle, like lunged him forward and made him move forward in that spot. So then he wanted to move forward. And once I got back on him, he knew what I wanted and then he did it. So sometimes, like, to me, if you have to get off to communicate what you want, do it. Because from on him, it was just turning into a fight and I didn't want that to happen. And so you'll see me do it again. You'll see what actually happens. But just so you know, I got off and I lunged him so that he would move forward. So here you can see he's moving pretty good. We're going to our tire now to throw the toy in the tire. And when I say Ruach is smart, you're going to see just how smart he is. So we've done this once. Toss the toy in there. But now he has memorized the little pattern. So he knows, okay, go to the post and get the brush and then go back out. Which is, and another whole thing is, like, I don't know if he's going to like doing repetitive things. But you see there, he knew, okay, I'm going to this post. He went right there and did it. So he is incredibly smart. Like, he learns things so fast. Like, the first time you do something, he memorizes from there. He's probably the smartest horse I've ever dealt with. But here, once again, he doesn't want to move forward. I also think he has hay and food here, so I I think that may be why he was getting stuck kind of in this corner and he didn't want to move forward. So lesson learned on my part. But I end up, this is what this turns into. He's not moving forward, so I get off and I make him move forward pretty fervently so he knows, like, hey, we're not messing around here. I'm not letting this become a bad habit. And then I just get back on and I ask for it again. And so I'm just using the ground to reaffirm what I'm asking in the saddle. And you can see after I did that, he was like, okay, Mom, I get it now. So that's how I use that. I think it's important, especially when starting young horses, because they may not fully grasp what you want under saddle. So using the groundwork, to me, is very important. All right, because Rock likes opening the gate, we're gonna let him do that and then we'll be done. Remember how to do this? And he almost does this like he hasn't memorized. He likes opening gates. Good boy. Good boy. All right. Just be careful because there's electric back there. Step around. Good. Hey. Good. Oh, watch your big belly. All right, let's close it. You gotta step that butt around. There. Oh my goodness. Whoa. Oh my goodness, that was so good. Here, let's clip it. I'll just shut it like that because I don't think I can reach the clip. Isn't that crazy that he can do that? And it's like he just figured it out. It's not like, a lot of horses get really frustrated with that. Good boy. Now let's walk a few steps out just so you, here, follow me, because if he's moving, I'm gonna let him move. It's all right. If he wants to move, I'm gonna let him move, because usually he doesn't want to move sometimes. Come on. He's like, I do know that the grass field is this way, even though there's a sprinkler going on right now. Yeah. Good boy. So today was a good gauge on where we're at with him. Like I said, he hasn't been ridden too much since the beach, so that was like a month and a half ago. The biggest thing we faced today is he just didn't want to move forward, and he's kind of been like that where, like I mentioned, if we're in a smaller space, for some reason, he's just a bit more sticky, and sometimes he'll even use that as an opportunity to like throw his head and act like he's gonna buck. So what I ended up doing today is, if he really gave me a hard time with it, I would just get off and lunge him and make him move from the ground and then get back on him. And after doing that 2 or 3 times, he seemed to get the point and he was much more willing to move forward. And even though he did move forward, he still doesn't feel right yet. Like, he doesn't feel like he wants to go faster. So that's just something I'll have to work out because I've not dealt with a horse like this yet. So different from Tucker. And other horses I've had. But as soon as we went out of the pen, he was like ready to move forward. And I think that just comes with him being raised on the trail. Like, he literally was raised trail riding every single day out in the open. So I think that's part of it. But he's a good boy. He just needs to learn. Respect on the ground with your horse correlates to respect under saddle, and that's one thing I'm still working with him on. As I mentioned, he is incredibly pushy, and so I feel like working with that on the ground will help a lot in the saddle. And I do have an online course about simple groundwork exercises that help teach your horse to respect your space and to respect boundaries and pressure. And so I will put the link to that course in the description. It's at shop.equinehelper.com, and it's how to gain and maintain your horse's respect through groundwork.